Hello everyone. DevClub and GDG Gwalior and Tezos, we all welcome you back to the day two of the blockchain webinar that you guys attended yesterday, and we hope that you got to learn from it. So just to recap what we had yesterday, so we had an introduction to Tezos India Foundation. We had an introduction to what is blockchain, what is the story of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and a little bit of introduction to Tezos, although I think some concept is remaining from that. So today we are going to be having a more of a hands-on session. So how to build using Tezos, how to build upon their project. So the topics we'll be covering would be Tezos as a protocol, running the Tezos node, and writing a smart contract. So at the end of day one, there's this link to day one stream if you want to revert back for anything later on. So yeah. And at the end of day one, we shared you this link of Smart Pi Learning website Crypto, which is a Plant versus Zombies game. So how is it built upon the Tezos project? So yeah, so we'll be going over. We'll be starting from here only today. And yeah, so today's speaker would be Jignesh, who also were here yesterday, and he took a good amount of time to explain you what blockchain is and how it's affecting the market and how it relates to everything. So yeah, so you know about him. So he'll be here today to take control of the hands-on session. And towards the end of the session, we'll be having an assignment release. And as announced earlier, top 5 submissions will get goodies from Tezos. And then we'll also release a feedback form that you have to fill in order to tell us what better we could do and what kind of events you would like in the future. And that so the filling in the feedback form is necessary for you to claim your participation certificates also. And the feedback form and any other details regarding the events and the post-event logistics will be released from Facebook page of DevClub IIT Delhi, and the link has been given earlier and it's also present here. And so yeah, so I think without further ado, let me call Jignesh in on the stream so he can just pick up where you guys left off and then take you on adventurous life with Tezos. Okay, so I think yeah, we can add Jignesh. Hello, Jignesh.
Yeah, hey guys. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope a wonderful session yesterday, right? And then you would have done some reading, right, about the concepts and everything that we had talked, right, during the session. If you have any queries, doubt, right, please feel free to post in comments before we start, right? I'll try to address them before we jump into the some of the two concepts of today's, right, and then we'll just directly jump into the hands-on session. Yeah, so let me just share my screen. So I'll just start with a recap of, let's say, what is Tezos and what we did like yesterday, right? So we had learned about what is blockchain, right? Then we started learning about Bitcoin blockchain. So we started with how a transaction happens, what is a universal ledger, right? And then why is there a requirement of a universal ledger in, let's say, to do the digital payment, right? And then we learned about okay, how a Bitcoin node runs, or what happens when, let's say, we do a transaction, right? How mining happens, how a miner get rewards from his mining activities, right? And then what other kind of rewards also a miner receives. Then we were talking about some of the consensus algorithm. So one of the main consensus algorithm that is very popular, right? It is a proof of work, which is by the way, it is some kind of a complex mathematical puzzle, right? Which requires some it's a computational heavy puzzle, and based on that, a miner or a node, right, that receives a nonce, and this nonce is again used as a proof of work receipt with the block, and the miner or a node which produces this receipt or nonce first, right, his or her block is accepted by the network. So everything happens automatically. There is no manual or human intervention, right? Other than that, setting up the node. And then we learned that okay, Bitcoin is just about payment system. So how we can, let's say, use the same technology or leverage the same technology to make things easier in the other domains as well, right? So that's where the Ethereum and smart contract concept came into picture. With smart contracts, you can absolutely push any data to the blockchain, right? So and then we learned about Tezos, that okay, what is Tezos, and what are the distinguishable feature of Tezos, right? Like self amendment, and then uh, formal verification, right, for the smart contracts, and then how it is like a truly decentralized network, right, which allows anybody to join the network as a miner. So some of the things in Tezos terms are, in Tezos world, a miner is called as a baker. But Tezos is, again, it comes from French origin, right? So the things are the terms are related to that. So miner is called baker, and then whole mining process, right, it's called baking process. And yeah, so that's probably about all those terms in Tezos, right? Then we learned about different amendments that has happened on the Tezos blockchain, right, like uh, Athens, and then Babylon net, right? The recent one is a Carthage net, right? So these amendments are nothing but some kind of a software upgrades, right? So the way we have, let's say, Android's version, right, A to E, right, or I don't know which version it is now, right? So yeah, like that. These are the versions of the blockchain, right? But the main thing to focus here is this self amendment, right? Because in blockchain world, whenever there is an upgrade, people kind of not people, but communities are basically divided, right? Or hard fork happens of on the versions of software, that some people supports older version, some people supports new version. So that's where Tezos self amendment comes into picture. That once we have the majority, right, once we have a quorum, that yes, we agree with whatever upgrades that we want to do, right, or we don't want to do, based on that software is upgraded or not upgraded. But there are no, let's say, community split, right? So there won't be any two versions of the same Tezos blockchain would be running. So yeah, that's about the self amendment, right? So we had talked about Mickelson, that what is so all the Tezos smart contract, right, those are written in Mickelson. Mickelson is again stack based functional programming language, right? So it provides a feature of a formal verification. That also I had briefly mentioned, that it's a testing technique which is very prevalent in the areas which are like mission critical, like airlines or defense and all, right? So that's about it. You can read more about functional programming language, right, or let's say stack based languages. It's one of the interesting area as well. So yeah, just on a side note, right, the other interesting part of a blockchain world is it touches a lot many areas of your, let's say, normal or regular software development environment, right? So when I say that, see, there is a cryptography involved, right? Then there is this kind of a functional programming language or a formal verification, and other techniques are involved to, let's say, verify your smart contracts validity and functions, right? Then there are concepts of distributed networks, right? So we if you guys were aware of, let's say, distributed DBs, and then peer-to-peer network, right? So all those concepts are being used in any blockchain network, right? So once you jump into the, let's say, blockchain development world, right, you can contribute at many layers. So again, it depends on which is your area of interest, but it has almost all aspects of any software. So you can always jump in and work on the whatever area you feel right. So again, yeah, this was the main feature of smart contract, where the contract is in human readable format, and also like it can be formally verified, right? So yeah, so one other thing I wanted to mention is liquid proof of stake. So generally, like yesterday we were talking about proof of work, in which you require electricity, right, or some kind of a computational power. But can somebody just point out that what could probably go wrong with that, like with proof of work, right, which requires, let's say, lots of computation power to maintain the validity of the network. So what's probably wrong with that, You can provide your comments, right, in comment section. Yeah, someone could fake the longest chain. No, actually, proof of work also makes it difficult, right, to fake the longest chain. Centralization may occur. Yes, it can occur, but the chances with, let's say, a truly decentralized big network, right, it's very less. So there are so again, as we had talked yesterday, right, about 51% attack, it could happen in theory, but in practicality it's like difficult to do. And even if somebody is able to pull it pull that out, so the economic side, right, the network will lose its validity or trust, and then there's no value of, let's say, that native currency. It could be Bitcoin, it could be Ethereum, anything. Only people with higher power GPUs will take out the verification work. Yes, exactly. So what happens is everybody is trying to mine the Bitcoin, so they are putting, like, they want to have more and more power, right? So that's why they are doing the all, let's say, mining farms, right, that I showed you yesterday. But the thing is, the energy consumption is too much, right? So again, this is my personal opinion, so I don't see this as a sustainable mode of doing things, right? So for Bitcoin it could work. Why? Because Bitcoin is some kind of base currency of cryptocurrency world, right? So and it's popular, right? And now there's no point in going back for Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is some kind of a portal, right, from where people from, let's say, fiat world. So when I say fiat, all these currencies, right, US dollar, euro, Indian rupees, right, all those currencies are called fiat currencies. You can go and read about that, what are fiat currency and what are cryptocurrencies. So Bitcoin is a kind of a portal from, let's say, people from fiat currency enters into the cryptocurrency world. So yeah, there is no point arguing that Bitcoin should go away with, let's say, proof of work, because it's very popular. But for other blockchain, right, let's say if there are some 100 other blockchains which work on this kind of a proof of work, what could happen is we would be spending more in energy, right? And all this energy again comes from finite resources. So that's why there's other concept of consensus algorithm, right, which is called proof of stake. So as the name suggests, what happens is everybody will be holding, let's say, some share of the network in terms of the coins or native currencies they have, right? So let's say, to give you an example, right, in Bitcoin world, it could be like a person or a miner who has, let's say, 100 Bitcoins, right? So he has that share of worth of 100 coins in the network, right? So similarly, everybody who has, let's say, some chunk of the coins on the network, right, they would have that much say in the network or some right in the network. So that's what called is a proof of stake. So the person who has, let's say, highest number of coins, right, he will be more, like, he will have more probability of being selected as a miner or validator, right, in the network. And that's what is called kind of proof of stake at, let's say, 30,000 feet level, right? Once we go into the details, right, there are different, let's say, implementation of the same thing, right, proof of stake. So another version of a proof of stake is a delegated proof of stake, in which you can kind of delegate your coins to somebody else, right? So Tezos has a interesting concept, right, which is a liquid proof of stake. So I'll just show you one image, probably that will give you the idea. Yeah, just a moment before I think it gets streamed. Yeah. So as you can see on your screen, right, this A, B, and C, right, those are mining nodes. Okay, if complexity is reduced, want the task of changing all hashes and bring down a blockchain. Yes. Yeah, so we are not talking about that, Shubham. We are not talking about, let's say, bringing the complexity down, right? This is the whole different approach that we are taking here for consensus. So what happens is the people, right, who has, let's say, some number of X number of tokens, right, with he'll be getting the rights to, let's say, mine a block with that probability. So let's say here in this network, right, A, B, and C are three different miners or baker in Tezos world, right? We can assume that A has a, let's say, 10,000 coin, B has a 50,000 coins, and C has a 1 lakh coins, right? So now what would happen is all these three will have equal probability of, let's say, being chosen as a miner, but again it will be in proportion to whatever number of coins they hold. So the probability of C getting selected, right, will be always higher than probability of A getting selected, but that doesn't mean that A will never be selected, right? So that's the case with, let's say, proof of work, where generally, like, what could happen is the guy who has, let's say, highest mining power, right, he'll always get to pick the block, right? So there will be kind of a constant that competition between other miners, right? So that and other thing in liquid POS, what could happen is anybody, right? So generally what happens in proof of stake, to prevent a network from, let's say, multiple validators, right, generally there will be a minimum number of coins requirement. So in Tezos, if you have 8,000 Tezos with you, right, Tezos coins, those are not real coins, it's a digital currency again. So once you have 8,000 XTZ, right, or Tezos coins, you can become a miner or a baker, right, on the network. But let's say I don't have 8,000 coins, I have just 100 coins. So what can happen? Still, I can have say in the network. What I can do is I can delegate my coin to any of the miner. That's what the person on the leftmost is doing. He is delegating his rights, right, to miner A. Now, how do we see this delegation? So we all are, let's say, aware of how our democracy works, right? In democracy, what happens is we vote for our leader, right? So, and then that leader represents us in, let's say, a parliament. Correct. So what we are doing is we are delegating our right to choose, right, what is, let's say, right or wrong for us, right, to that, let's say, MP or MLA, and then he will be representing us in the parliament. So you can think out of the same manner. This ABC are your MLA or MPs, right, to whom you are kind of delegating your rights, and they will do the mining. And then once they, let's say, they earn some rewards, right, they'll be sharing these rewards with you guys. Or when I say you, is basically all these people who have delegated their coins, right? So that's how, let's say, liquid democracy or liquid proof of stake works. It's one form of on-chain governance. So whatever we are seeing in off-chain world, right, we are seeing it here. Yeah, so that's about liquid proof of stake. Correct. So let's have see the comparison between, let's say, liquid proof of stake and proof of mine. Yeah. So yeah, just to give a quick again overview of comparison between proof of work and proof of stake, right? Proof of work is some kind of a requirement or some kind of actual work that you have to do. In proof of stake, you just have to hold some number of coins, and it will be, let's say, you will be considered as a baker or miner in the network. Correct. And then a reward is given to the first miner who solves the block problem, versus in POS system, the miner, right, he takes the transaction fees, but this is not 100% correct. He also gets the reward for, let's say, baking a block also in Tezos world. This is general proof of work and proof of stake comparison. This is not Tezos specific, because Tezos has not proof of stake, it's a liquid proof of stake. It's a variation in the proof of stake, right? So that's the comparison. Correct. So again, it's not like just Tezos has this, let's say, liquid proof of stake, right? There are similar concept called like delegated proof of stake, right, on other blockchain. But there is a big difference between, let's say, both of them. The major difference is that in other networks, right, like EOS or Lisk or Tron, the number of people, right, are kind of decided offline, that okay, there will be only 10 people or 20 people who can do mining. So that is very wrong. Like that should not happen, right? Because in a truly democracy, right, anybody should be able to, let's say, participate and kind of make their voice heard. So that's what happens in Tezos, right? Anybody who has, let's say, minimum 8,000 coins, right, which is a one role, can join the network and can become a delegator, right? So uh, that's all about, let's say, liquid proof of stake. As of now, there are so many nitty-gritties about, like, let's say, what are cycles, and then what is role, right? Then how do you get, let's say, this baking rewards, right? What is baking rights? All those things are like what are snapshot. All these things are details of this liquid proof of stake that we won't go into, because that's something will require a separate session of its own, right? So just to give you some numbers, right? Uh, Again, these numbers are old. As of now, I think we have 500 plus bakers across the world, and then we have more than 20,000. So this is again would be a lower number. We have more than that delegators, right? These are numbers from last year. Okay, I think I missed uh, probably sharing this the screen. Yeah, but yeah, there's nothing to lose. I think I have covered most of the things. Yeah, correct. So as I was talking about the numbers, right? We have more than 500 bakers and 20,000 delegates across different locations, right? So yeah, that's about, let's say, how Tezos works, or what is liquid proof of stake. Now I know, like, you guys would be bored, right? That this guy keeps on talking since yesterday, and today also he's been talking for 20 minutes. So yeah, let's get started on the Tezos hands-on part, right? So for any development related queries, right, you can head to tezos.com, or you can directly head to developer.tezos.com. I'll be just posting that link in the comment section. Any of the organizer can just share with the participants, right? I have posted in chat. So you can head over to, let's say, this developer.tezos.com. There you will find almost all information regarding how you can get started on uh, some smart contract development or any other development, right, on Tezos. Yeah, you can open this link in your browser as well, right? I'll just give you some kind of site introduction or site map, right? So this is the one-stop place, right, where you can find all the information related to, let's say, Tezos ecosystem. So once you get started, right, first is the basic things, right? How to, let's say, deploy and interact with a contract on testnet, right? Or how to run a Tezos node, right? And then what are the different documentation, how Tezos works and everything, right? You can find it there. Then the next step would be write a smart contract on, let's say, Tezos blockchain or in Mickelson, right? Because as I had told you, the language to write smart contract in Tezos world is Mickelson, but this our different communities, right, that Om had mentioned yesterday. So what they have done is they have written uh, parsers in different languages, right? So now what you can do is you can write Tezos in different languages like Lego or Python, SmartPy, then Lawrence, right, and Archetype. So again, all these are different language frameworks which allows you to write your smart contract in, let's say, Pascal or OCaml or Python like or Haskell language, right? And then it gets compiled into Mickelson at the end of the day. So as I had mentioned yesterday, we will be writing smart contracts in Python today, right? Then these are the different libraries, right? Like ConcilJS, ConcilPy, right? EasyTeasy. Yeah, and then there are Android SDKs, there are Java SDK, right? There are .NET SDKs. So again, all these things are developed by people like us, right? Developers like me and you and everyone, right? So anybody can come up with, let's say, if you don't see a C++ library here, right? You can always come and say that, okay, I will develop a C++ library for, let's say, Tezos community. And if you are clear about what kind of a plan that you have, right, then you can apply for a grant from Tezos Foundation also. So yeah, if you have all those kind of ideas, right, you can reach out to us. We'll help you to get a grant. I think starting grant is around 30K or $50K, right? The first version of the grant, if your, let's say, idea or library or project gets accepted. Correct. And then we have different kind of a blockchain explorers, right? So blockchain explorers are some kind of a portal where you can provide an address, right, or a transaction hash, right, and it will give out all the information. So just to show you, right, let me share my uh, application window. Right. So just to show you how a Tezos blockchain explorer looks like. Sorry, I'm switching between tabs, so I have to stop and start share again. Correct. So see, this is how a blockchain explorer looks like. This is teststates.com, right? It's running on Carthagenet. Carthagenet is again one of the test network, because if you want to do on anything on a main network, you need some real tokens. So generally people, right, developers use test network to kind of develop their application and use dummy coins to, let's say, do any operation and all, right? And once you are confident enough that, okay, everything runs smooth, you can deploy your applications on a mainnet or kind of in a production environment. So here you can see that I have opened an account, right? So here it shows what balance that account has. Let me zoom in a bit. Correct. Then when was it active, right? When did it do the last transaction? Then it is revealed. That means anybody can come and see this address or account, right? uh, then it has all the different tabs like, okay, received transactions, then all the transaction that it has sent. Correct. Then other type of transactions, so which are like contracts transaction, right? Whenever you deploy or call a contract, right, those transactions are under contract transaction or other tab, right? So then here it shows the hash, right? So if you click on any hash, so hash is a transaction hash that we were talking about yesterday, right? That any action on a blockchain you do, right, creates a unique hash which refers to that particular transaction. So here you can see that this particular transaction, it was a smart contract call, as it is showing, right? Then it has all the details that, okay, when this transaction had happened, it had happened on May 10th at 14:40:19, so 2:40 p.m., right? And then how much fee the was paid to the miner, right, while doing this transaction. And then there are other values like gas price and gas limit and all, right? So these are pretty standard terms. I think don't get overwhelmed by this. You will learn the meaning of all these terms as and when you, let's say, work more with blockchain, right? Don't be scared if you like don't know about all these terms. That's perfectly fine. Correct. So again, going back to, let's say, our Tezos developer portal, we are talking about different sections. So the below here you can find all other tools, right, which kind of help you to again make your life easier. So one of the tool is Tester, right? So Tester is again it's developed by Tezos or the people, right, who are again part of Tezos India Foundation, right? I was one of the developer who had started writing the initial version of the Tester tool, right? So it is a CLI and GUI tool which kind of helps you to run your own version of blockchain on your local machine, and then you can deploy a smart contract or do a transaction, right? Like, okay, sending 10 Tezos to other people, right? And call a smart contract, just view the storage of smart contract, right? All those things you can do with these tools. I'll be talking more about these tools. It has two versions, CLI and GUI. In CLI, you do everything using your command line. And people who are not, let's say, that familiar with the command line, you can always use GUI, which is a more appealing view, right? That I'll be showing you. Correct. So, yeah, I think that's all about developer.thesis.com, right? There are so many tools like Conceal.js, right? So, these cryptonomic guys are, again, one of the very prominent community member, right? They have a lot many tools to, let's say, get started on Tezos. Then we have a Smart Pi guys, which again, it's again exceptional library that they have written, right? That you can write a smart contract in a Python like language and compile and deploy. So yeah, let's get started. I'll be sharing the link to, let's say, ID, right? That will be writing a code today with you guys. Yeah. Okay. So can somebody just post it into the comment section? I have just shared the URL. It is smartpi.io/dev. Yeah, once you go there, it should look something of this sort. I think once you guys have the link, right, you also can just go to the smartpi.io.dev. Be just writing that here for reference. Right, so now you can see what URL to go to. So you can type this URL in your browser and see, like, go to this editor. Okay, cool. So I'll just give a quick overview of this IDE. Let me know if you guys are not able to access this portal, right? So I'll just give a quick overview. This is the editor space. So on the left hand side, right, you can write the code. Right hand side will be the output panel. What are those output? We'll be seeing in a minute. Correct. For any help or documentation, right, you can click on help. There is a reference manual, right? It has all the required information, like how to, let's say, write a smart contract, simple smart contract, right? And then what are different building blocks of writing a smart contract? It could be expressions, it could be commands, it could be different entry points, right? All those things are there. Then it has all the detailed description of different data types, and then inbuilt variables, right? Not exactly variables, but operators, right? Which helps you to kind of, let's say, create a hash of your data, right? Or do the some type of type conversation, or read a signature, right? Or handle a timestamps, all those things, right? So this is the documentation about all the things that you can do with SmartPy. Today what we'll be doing is we'll be just writing a simple hello world smart contract, right? So in that one what we'll do is we'll write some snippet of a code which goes and writes a string to a blockchain, right? And then we will again write some code, right, in the same smart contract which will help us kind of to alter that string. So essentially we'll be just storing a string on a blockchain, and then we'll again call the same smart contract to, let's say, change the string, and all these things will be recorded on the blockchain, right? And you will have transaction hash for everything that we do. Cool. So yeah, again, let's go back to our IDE. So to write any smart contracts, right, what we have to do is we just have to first import SmartPy module, right? So what I have to write, if you guys are familiar with, let's say, Python, you would know import SmartPy as SP. So what this will do is it will kind of import a SmartPy module in my code, right? And then I can write. So every smart contract that I write, I have to create a separate class for that. So a Python class will represent, let's say, a smart contract, right? So I can write class hello world, right? And then it has to kind of we are kind of inheriting this smart contract from, let's say, uh, contract class of SmartPy. Correct. So I have to mention like sp dot contract here, right? What you can do is you just have to give attention to this part, right, where I'll be explaining how to write a code. Then again I will give you some time to try it out on your own in your browser, right? So I think just focus here for probably 5 to 10 minutes, right? I'll be explaining each of the actions that we're trying to do, right? So once you write a class, what we have to do is we have to write some kind of a constructor. So if you are familiar with Python, right, this is how, let's say, we write our constructor function in Python. Here what I do is when I'm initializing this class, right, I will be passing a variable. Correct. So let's say that variable name is initial name something. So here once I, let's say, I receive this data, right, what I have to do is I have to store it in my class on some private variable, right? So what I have to do is self dot init name is equal to init name. So just to explain here, I have written a simple Python class. It has its constructor which will receiving a string. Okay, the string variable's name is init name. I will be assigning this string to a private variable called name on my class. So now anywhere in my class, right, I will be able to access this name variable. Correct. So looks pretty simple, right? But then what happens, right? What if I want to, let's say, change this name? So again, in as it is like known, right, for any let's say software development, during any software development, right, whenever we write a class, we will have some kind of a public function to, let's say, alter the states of any private variable, right? So we'll be writing, let's say, some function here as well, right? So let me just write a new Python function definition, right? Change name, which will be taking, let's say, new name as a parameter. And here what I do is self dot data dot name is equal to new name. Cool. Yeah, but this code may not work. Why? Because we need to have we need to tell the compiler, right, our SmartPy compiler, that this is some kind of a function or an entry point. So what we have to do is we have to decorate it with let's say entry point. So now what happens is whenever a compiler compiles this code to a Mickelson contract, right, it will tell the compiler that this is my entry point, or this is the a sub function, right? So that's why we have to add this decorator to it. Now let me try running it. Cool. It will throw error. See what error it has thrown is okay. There is no SP contract class hello world. Okay, but no test is defined. So now why do we require a test? Correct. See, it is saying that okay, what kind of test I have to write. So I can just copy this, or I can just write my own test case. But before jumping to that, I just tell you guys that why, let's say we require a test case. So in blockchain, what happens is, let's say whenever you want to, in normal, whenever you, let's say, write a normal code on your machine, right? You just kind of simply run that code by, let's say, if it is a node.js file, right? You just do node, then JS file name, or if it is a Python file, you just do Python, Python 3, Python 2.7, and then directly that whatever file name .py, right? And it will run your code. But in blockchain, what happens is when you want to deploy, when you want to kind of run a smart contract, you have to deploy it. And let's say if there are any errors, right, or if there is a logical mistakes, you have to redeploy it. So the whole process is time consuming. So what all thanks to this smart pi guys, right, what they have done is they have created some kind of a framework in which you can test your smart contracts right into the IDE. So it's very simple. All you have to do is just write a few statements, right? So here it again creates a decorator, right? That this is the test part of the contract. So all you have to is worry about this, but this below part, right? Test part is necessary for any smart contract to test your smart contract right into the ID, so that you don't have to again deploy it. Then if there are any errors, again come back, fix it, and again deploy, right? So you can do everything here only. In a minute you'll know why it is easier to do it here than doing it on blockchain. So it's very simple. You just have to create a test scenario, right? It is nothing, it's some kind of a object, right, to do all this testing. Then you create an instance of let's say this class hello world. So what I'm doing is I'm creating an instance with hello world string. So this init name will be hello name, and when this instance is getting created, right, my private variables value will be hello world. Then what I'm doing is I'm calling this c1.change name. C1 is the instance of my hello world smart contract, and I'm calling dot change name on that, right, which will be taking Bob as an argument here as a new name. And once this line number 9 is executed, right, what happens is the private variable which was earlier hello world, now it will be changed to Bob. Cool. So now let me run it. I'll just click on this button. Let me zoom out a bit. Yeah, see, so you are seeing all this visualization, right? And this scenario is being used for that only, this test scenario. To create this kind of a visualization, we are using it. So the main thing that you have to focus here is this line number 14 and line number 16, that we create an instance of a smart contract, and then we call any of the entry point in the smart contract. So this first block here you see on the right hand side, it belongs to the first statement at line number 14. When we do c1 hello world with and call it with a string hello world, right, it generates this kind of a structure, right? So you have to focus on the storage. Storage is the private variable or a kind of a context or a workspace, right, of this contract. So this contract has only a private variable called name, and its value is hello world. Now when I change it to, let's say, why it can't copy the sp.test case? Hey, I think it was in the pop-up, right? And I was not able to copy the content from JavaScript pop-up. I think it's not allowed probably, so that's why I was not able to copy. Yeah. So okay, sorry to diverge. So when I call this c1 dot change name with Bob, right, you can see here the variable value, right, in the storage it got changed to Bob. Now when you actually deploy this contract and then call the contract, right, by this change name, uh, it will be doing this exact thing on the blockchain for each of the statement, right, line 14 and line 16. It will be creating a separate transaction. So creating an instance of a smart contract, again, it is equivalent to deploying the smart contract. When we deploy a smart contract with some values, uh, it will create a transaction and it will store this value and create a storage with, let's say, hello world. And then when we call the smart contract to alter the data, right, that also will create a separate transaction and it will alter the storage value to Bob. Right. So now what I want you to do is all of you, right, uh, try to write this smart contract in your own editor and let me know once you are done, right? Python is a indent sensitive language. So just make sure that you are properly indenting it. Correct. If you are familiar with Python, right, you can change, let's say, your variable names and try to play around with it. But yeah, just try to follow the same structure. Otherwise, you may get some errors, right? And then you will be like stuck that, okay, why am I getting all these errors? I am sharing a paste bin link of, let's say, the smart contract. If you don't want to write and just want to copy paste, I would advise you to, let's say, try to write it first, right, by your own. And then if you're not able to do, then only you can kind of copy paste and do, right. So once you write a smart contract in, let's say, left side of the IDE, you have to click on this green button, which is run button, and you should be able to generate, let's say, the storage values for you. Let me know once you guys are done. Cool. I think Abhishek is done. Gitika is done. Yeah. I'll just wait for other people to be done. The people who are able to successfully run, right, just do one thing. Try to play around with the values, right, and then see that if you are able to see the result on the right hand side, or what you can do is you can create your own entry point, correct, and then try to do some other type of alteration, right. You can add some prefix, you can add some suffix to the incoming variable and then store it, like let's say whatever is name is coming, right, you can add a prefix like Mr. or Miss or anything, right, and then see that how whole thing is changing, right. Yeah. Okay. Jatin is also done. Please share in the comments, right, if you have done some alteration and if you are able to see, right, your results or anything else that you want to may ask, right, about the smart contract. I know we are going in a little pace, right, but with limited time, yeah, that's what like I'm able to do. If I would have more time, right? Generally, whenever we do this workshop, right, we either do for one full day, right, where we kind of focus on each of the things in very detail, but we have like a very little time, so I have to just rush through some of the things or skip some of the finer details. But yeah, feel free to ask in the comment section, right? So I'll be able to help you with much more details. Cool. So now what happens is let's try to deploy this smart contract. Correct. But as I had told you, right, whenever let's say we want to interact with the blockchain, what we require is some kind of a wallet or a public and private key combination, if you have heard. So now what is public and private key? Correct. So you can think it of as a, let's say, a public key as a some kind of a your house address, right? So it's known to everybody. Anybody who wants to, let's say, communicate with you can send some, let's say, parcel or mail to your public address, correct? And you will receive that. And there is no harm in, let's say, sharing the public address, but think private key as a some kind of key to, let's say, your main door, right? You can't share it with everybody, because if you once you give key to somebody else, right, technically the house or property, right, belongs to them. Let's not think about all the legal system, right, court and everything. So that's how the whole public and private key works in blockchain world as well. So to make secure or to keep your balance secure, right, you will always have a combination of a private key and a public key. So yeah, again, to deploy a smart contract or to call a smart contract also, you will require some kind of a wallet, right? So this wallet is called basically the combination of a private key and a public key is called as a wallet. So just to give you one quick overview on wallet part, right, or how, let's say, public key and private keys are related, I'll be just sharing image with you guys. Just a minute. Yeah. Okay. So as you are able to see, right, a private key is generated by some cryptographic algorithm, right? So as an input to this cryptographic algorithm, we use some kind of a randomness. This randomness will make sure that the key that you are generating is unique in the world. So what do we use as this randomness? We use 12 different words, right? So these words will kind of introduce some kind of randomness in the whole system, right? So these words are called mnemonics. Once we I'll show you these words. So once this private key is generated, right, using some kind of encryption algorithm, so there are very popular cryptographic encryption algorithm, right? Bitcoin use, I think, DCA, ECDSA. You can read more about that later. So once you encrypt that private key, right, it generates your public key, and then you can create a hash of that public key, which will be some kind of address. So yesterday I had shown you, right, when we were talking about Bitcoin, that this is how your public address looks like. So this public crypto address is equivalent to, let's say, your UPI address, right? For your case, it could be like some mobile number at the rate OK ICICI or OK SBI or HDFC or anything, right? So public crypto address is this. But in case of UPI, it doesn't go through all this process, while in blockchain world, everything is related. So you have your private key, then we kind of encrypt that private key. This is a one-way encryption. So you can create a public key from private key, but you can't go back. It's next to impossible to, let's say, crack or kind of get a private key from a public key, right? And then what we do is we create a hash of this public key, which is your public address. So let kind of do this thing in Tezos world. So what I do is you can go to faucet.tezos.com. I'll just share in a minute. Okay, it's not Tezos.com, but yeah, just let me share a link in the chat. It will be shared with you guys. So Faucet is the place where you can get some dummy accounts. In a minute, I think you'll be able to see the screen. If Yeah, cool. Thank you, Jiriji Gwalior, or organizer, right, for sharing the link. If you can go to the link, right, you would be seeing. Yeah. So Faucet is nothing. It will give you some dummy accounts to, let's say, interact with on a testnet, right? It's not on mainnet or a production system. It is some kind of a developer system, and it will give access to that. It will create a wallet for that testnet. So you can just click on this captcha, right? And once you click on get testnet, right, it will generate this kind of a JSON for you. So as I was telling, right, your private key is created by some randomness, or we need some kind of a randomness to create a unique private key. So all these words are being used to create that kind of a randomness. And then there are some other parameters like secret and password, right? Those are again being used to make sure that your private key stays secure. So with this full JSON, you can create a private key and a public key and a public key hash. So as you can see, this PKH, right, which is starting with TZ1, this is your public address. So anybody who wants to send anything to, let's say, this account, right, they can send it to this address. This is the public address of this. So in Tezos world, all the public addresses will always start with TZ1 prefix. Correct. So now, but this is just the wallet generation has happened. If, let's say, I take this wallet and if I take this address, and let's say if I go to this blockchain explorer, right, which is karthadnet.tzstates.com, see, I won't be able to find anything. By the way, let me share this link as well here. Sorry for the screen in screen. Instead of sharing each tab, now I'm sharing my full screen. So like you will be seeing this kind of thing. So you can go to this karthadnet.tasters.com, and you can enter the address, right, that you got it from this Faucet. You won't be you won't be able to download anything, right, or see anything. And it happens why? Because uh, this account is not yet activated. Why does that? Yeah, correct. So just everyone do this thing, right, where you just download your wallet from Faucet portal, right? And once you download, you can go and check with the PKH on the karthagnet.tzstates.com whether you are able to see or not. So now we have to activate this account. So to activate this account, right, we have to use some kind of a tool, or let's say some kind of API, right? So to make everyone's life easier, what we have done is we have created a GUI tool which is called Tester. I'm just sharing a link for that tool, or let's say how to download that tool, right? So you can go to this link, and there is a download section. So from there you can download the tool. I'll be just giving a demo of that tool with you guys. I have already downloaded. Okay. So yeah, once you download and run the tool, it should look like something of this sort. Yeah. So what you can do is you just have to click on, let's say, quick start. It will show that there is a, it is checking whether tester CLI is installed or not. Again, this tool, you can use it to, let's say, to connect to any remote node, or let's say you can run the whole blockchain on your machine itself, and then you can use this tool to connect to it. So tester CLI is the tool which kind of does the full setup on your machine, and then you can run local nodes. But here what we'll be doing is we'll be just targeting or connecting to the remote nodes. So remote nodes are nothing but some of the community members, right? Like let's say Tezos India Foundation and Cryptonomic people. They run these nodes for development network. So anybody from the community, right, they can use these nodes to, let's say, do the development work. So here it says that tester CLI is not running. So yeah, which is pretty fine. You just click on go to dashboard. So once you, let's say, go to your dashboard, right, it shows like this. If you can see here, right, it shows different nodes. If I select let's say local node, it will throw an error that you don't have CLI installed. Once you do the installation and then you select, it will run perfectly fine. So as of now, it has connected to tester node, which is running Karthagnet protocol. There is a smart pi node as well with the same protocol. You can connect to any nodes, it doesn't matter. It is like different endpoints, right? Multiple peoples are running the nodes, and you are just connecting to them. Correct. So here you can see that there are two buttons. One is restore or create a wallet, and other is add faucet account. So you just need to click on add faucet account here, and then we have to fill all these parameters. So let's start with mnemonics, which we got from the Tezos Faucet, right? So all we have to do is you just you can select all these mnemonics from the JSON that you got, right, and just paste it here. It will remove all the double quotes and all the formatting, right, on its own. Just select the words, not anything else. Then we have to select the secret. So just select the secret from there and paste it here. You will get time to do all these things, right? So once I show you. So you can do that. Meanwhile, parallelly, you can download and set up the tool, right? If you're on Windows or Mac or OS X, right? You can just download. But first, just go through the flow. I'll be there to help you, right? Once you try to do this on your machine. So we have to copy the mnemonics. Then we have to, just a minute. I think I have killed the app. Let me share, start it again. By mistake, I killed the app, so I have restarted. Yeah. Okay. So add Faucet net account. Now I copy the mnemonics. I copy the secret part. I copy the public key hash. Then I copy password. Then I can copy email ID. Now here I have to give a label. So label is some kind of a way to identify. You actually don't require it in real world. Our tool, right, tester tool, it requires so that you can easily identify the account, right? So I will give you this name as like, let's say, DevClub 1. Correct. This is just any random label you can give to identify this account. And what you have to do is you have to click on activate wallet. If you have already activated this account, right, by somehow, like by using, let's say, some other means, then you have to click on restore. But here we are doing it for the first time. You have to click on activate wallet. What this will do is this will create a transaction that, okay, we need to activate this account, correct, and it will push this transaction to the blockchain. So the time between two blocks, right, is 1 minute. So whenever you do any transaction on the remote nodes, it may take up to 1 minute, correct, to, let's say, to get your transaction accepted. So meanwhile, what you can do is you can download the tool and kind of try to follow through the same process that I have given, right? Just download the tool, go to dashboard. It will detect that yeah, tester CLI is not running. So just simply go to dashboard, correct, and then you can restore the account. And don't forget, please use the beta version. I think there is a beta version section on the documentation, right? So you can just download that. So once I do that, I just have to click on OK. So you can see that we have an account called DevClub1 created here, and it has balanced this 313,378.640 Tezos, right? So I can just copy this address and go to Blockchain Explorer. You will be able to, let's say, see this in that CarthageNet Blockchain Explorer. So if I go to that tab, you can see that the balance and when it was last active, which was just 2 minutes or 1 minute before this, right, and all other details related to this account. So yeah. If you are not able to, let's say, follow through at this pace, right, about all these different steps, don't worry. This all these sessions will be recorded and it will be there on the YouTube, so you can come at any time and then again try to follow through all the steps, right, one by one. Cool. So let's go back to the our smart contract part again. Right now that we have one wallet, which has enough balance, we can use this wallet to deploy our smart contract. So what you can do is you can go back to our editor tab, which is okay, my ID tab. Okay, so I'll just zoom out a bit. If you see on right hand side, right, it has multiple tabs like smart pi, storage, types, all, and Mickelson. So you can click on Mickelson. What it will do is it will show you the compile version of the code. So here, if you click on a code, right, see, this is what it shows. This is the code which kind of uh, got compiled, right, from Python code to Mickelson code. So on left hand side, whatever part I have selected, right, this class hello world, without the testing section, the class hello world and the entry point, it got compiled into, let's say, this thing on right hand side. Yeah, it looks scary, right, at first note, but once you, let's say, work on more and more smart contracts, right, it will become familiar and you will be able to read through the whole smart contract written in Mickelson. Here storage is the initial value, right, that you have to pass it when you deploy the smart contract. So here it's just a one argument, that's why it is showing hello world. Let's say if your storage has 5 or 6 variables, right, basically if you have 5 6 private variables on your smart contracts, it will have a different structure. As it is a functional programming language, it will have some complex like left of right of left or right, something, that kind of a structure, right. It will be a more kind of a tree kind of a structure. I won't go into details of that, otherwise you guys will be confused. So yeah, uh, so what we have to do is just you can copy this code from here, correct the compile Mickelson code, and we can head over to, let's say, our tester tool. So now if you are using a beta version of this tool, right, from the documentation, it has a tab called editor. So as of now, it just supports the Mickelson code directly. So the way we did, right, we wrote contract in Python or SmartPy, and then we compiled, right. So it got compiled into Mickelson. So we'll be supporting all those kind of things here in future, but as of now, it just supports Mickelson editor. Correct. So I can just paste the code here and I just have to click on compile. Say it says that code compiled successfully without any error. If you have, let's say, stored this code in some file on your machine, right, you can just uh, select that file and the code will be shown here. Now once, let's say, the code has successfully compiled, it's time to deploy. So the deployment is very easy now. Now what we have to do is to deploy any contract or call any contract, what we have to do is we have to select any address, right. So let me select the DevClub 1 address or a wallet that we recently activated. So it shows the balance also, that it has this many Tezos. Now I can again give some kind of a label for this contract. This label is again to easily identify this contract, but on blockchain it will be always a unique address. We have a TZ1 address for any wallet, right. For smart contract the address will be KT1. You'll be able to see soon, right. So what you can do is you can give some contract label. So let's say I just give hello dev club, right. This is the my smart contract name. Then I can give some contract amount. So you can also send some Tezos tokens when you try to deploy or call a smart contract. It again it is based on what kind of application that you are writing, correct. So in our application there's no requirement of sending any money to the smart contract or any tokens, so we mention it as a 0. Then what we have to do is we have to provide the initial value. So initial value is, if you refer to our smart contract that we did in ID, right, we were passing hello world. So here either I can pass hello world or I can pass anything. I can pass, let's say, DevClub 24th May. Okay. As it is a string, I have to provide it into double quotes. If it is of a type integer, I can just give it directly. So once I fill all the parameters right, all I have to do is save and deploy contract. So it will take up to 1 minute to deploy this smart contract. And once this contract is deployed, you can see all the transaction related information right on the blockchain explorer. I'll just show you in a minute. If you have any questions, any doubt, right, please feel free to again post it in the comment section. If your smart contract has, let's say, multiple storage parameters, right, then you have to give value for each of the parameters. So see, it says that your contract has been deployed successfully. As you can, this selected part, right, which is starting with kt1. So this is our actual smart contract address. So now the whole blockchain, right, in the complete network, this will be unique, and you can call this smart contract with this particular address. So we can copy this address and then go to our blockchain explorer, right, and I can enter the address here. So once I enter the address, right, see, it shows that this is a smart contract address. It was last active a minute ago because we just now deployed it. It has zero balance. It doesn't have any transactions because we just now deployed it, right? So see, it shows the different calls that have been made to the smart contract. So always the first call will be always the origination call or deploy call, right? So that's why it just shows one this one call. Then it can show the different entry points as well. It shows that there is only one entry point with zero string. If you have, let's say, multiple entry points in your smart contracts, it will show you, it will list all of the entry points here, and then it shows the storage as well. So see, the storage value is DevClub 24th May. We can actually go and see all this value inside our tool as well. Right, so what all you have to do is you have to go to contracts tab, invoke a view contract storage, select our contract, which is hello dev club, right, and click on show storage. See, it shows dev club 24th May. Okay, I can't find editor in tester. Yeah, Mrutyunjay, it's available actually in a beta version. Just give me a moment. What I'll do is I'll just share a beta version link with you. We haven't kind of released it yet. If it is not there in the documentation, yeah, just a moment. Yeah, I've just shared in chat. I think somebody will be sharing with you guys soon. Download it from here, right? Windows and Ubuntu users, because contracts tab is in editor, right? Not contracts. Editor is only in the beta version. But if you are on older version, right, you can do the same thing by going to the contracts tab, deploy contract. Right here you can either save the contract as a file, either you can save the contract as a file, or you can directly paste it here, right? No, okay, I think only option is there to kind of select as a file. So you just save the contract as a file, select the file here, then select the wallet here, select the file, give a name to contract, give contract amount as a 0, provide the initial storage, and you can deploy it from here as well. But as I had shared, right, you can use the beta version from the links that I have just given in the section. Okay, so going back to our demo part, right? So now once I have deployed the contract, right, I can do interaction with it. So to interact, right, what I can do is I can select a contract to interact. Correct. Then I can select a wallet, because with this wallet I'll be doing any interaction. You can use any other wallet as well. See, I have like 4 different wallets here, right? So I'll be using, let's say, demo 2 account here, because now the contract is deployed publicly, right? Anybody can come and call this contract. So again, this could be a security vulnerability, right? When you are developing some sensitive smart contracts, you have to make sure, or you have to filter that who all can call this smart contract. Correct. So that is the one thing that you have to always keep in mind. I can again give contract amount as a 0. Then I have to select entry point. So this contract has only one entry point. So see, it shows that the type is string. So I can give now, instead of DevClub 24th May, right, we can say that DevClub 23rd May. Okay, yeah, and I'll add let's say IITD as well. So IITD DevClub 23rd May. Correct. Once I fill all these parameters, what I have to do is just click on invoke contract. Again, this transaction, any transaction can take up to 1 minute, so just you have to wait till it gets confirmed. Whenever you click, let's say, any this kind of a button, right, you can visualize the whole process, that it will create a transaction. The transaction will go to a common pool, which is called mempool, right? Then all different nodes will be picking up this transaction based on the priority. So this priority again is based on the amount of fee that one user wants to pay. Then they'll pack a transaction up to, let's say, whatever is the block limit. It could be 1 MB, it could be 5 MB, it could be 10 MB. Take that many transactions and then create a block and send it to everyone. So the whole process happens, and once it gets accepted, you get a success message like this. So this is the transaction hash you get for let's say this contract deployment, right? So now if I go to view contract storage and select our contract, right, hello dev club, the old storage is dev club 24th May. Once I click on show storage, see, it shows IITD dev club 23rd May. Right. So yeah, that's how basically you can deploy a contract and interact with any of the contract. Correct. So the people who have, let's say, downloaded the tool, right, you can kind of interact with the tool, right, and just check if you are able to, let's say, follow through and able to deploy the contract. There are some other functions as well that I'll be showing you in a while, but if you have downloaded the tool, you can quickly try all the steps, right? Hey, can you put me in the session? I think I had a network issue. Yeah. Anybody, Shoria, or anyone can. Okay, I think I'm already in there. Yeah, cool. Sorry for that. I got dropped due to bad connection. Yeah. So yeah, we have successfully, let's say, developed and deployed our smart contract. So going back to our IDE, there are different templates, right, on the ID window. So if you click on, let's say, file, right, and select reference template, so you can see that okay, it has a welcome smart contract, then different data types, right, init types, string and bytes, list, right, timestamps, then cryptographic signatures. So I told you, right, if you want to, let's say, store sensitive informations like let's say Aadhaar card information or any other information which should not be made public, right, so then you can kind of sign that information with this kind of a cryptographic signature algorithms, right, provided by SmartPy library, and then store the data, right, all this hash function as well, right, show 52, show 256, 512, right, so all this kind of algorithm also you can use. So these are the some template for smart contracts in SmartPy. You can use this to develop your complex smart contract, and then you can always go back to like reference manual, right, uh, if you are confused about any of the data types or anything. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I hope everybody was able to kind of follow through the whole tutorial part. So just to show you some other things that you can do with Taster, right? The different way to, let's say, you can kind of interact with the blockchain. So we had, let's say, developed and downloaded a account from Faucet and then activated it, right? But what if, let's say, you want to create your own wallet? So you can create as many wallets as you want. So wallets are nothing but a private key and public key. So if you click on any of this wallet here, keys icon, see it shows everything. So you have this secret key. Now once you, let's say, use some encryption algorithm, this public key is created, and once you hash that public key, your public key hash is created, which is TZ1. So this is your wallet. So let's say if you want to create your own wallet, what you can do is you can give some label, let's say my wallet, and then I can give some random password. So again, this password is to kind of keep your account secure. So whenever you want to, let's say, unlock the account, right, you'll again have to give the password. So I click on create wallet. What it does is, see, it has created my wallet here. It has a new public address. It has a zero balance, obviously. So as you can see here, right, you will be able to find all the information here. Public key hash, public key, and then all other information. I think secret key is missing, but will be added in the latest version. So now what I can do with this wallet is I can again transfer some amount to this wallet. So I can pick any of the wallet. So I know that this DevClub one wallet has enough money, so I can select that wallet as a from wallet, in 2 I can give the wallet which I recently created with zero balance. Then I can give the amount. So let's say if I want to transfer 10 Tezos, right, then this is the guest price I have to give. So guest price is some kind of a fee, right, that you have to provide to a miner or baker, right? So the more the fee that you are willing to pay, the more probability is there to let like your transaction get selected, right? So let's say I give this guest price as 2000, it should be more than 1500, and then I click on pay amount. Again, it takes up to 1 minute to reflect this. Yeah, so it got executed successfully. I can click on transaction. I think it is not showing yet. It generally takes some time, so we can go back to our blockchain explorer to see whether this transaction is been included or not. So I just am giving my account address here. It has not been added yet. It will take up to 1 minute. Yeah, you can see here, right? It got 10 XTZ now. So the wallet which had zero balance, right? So whenever you create a custom wallet, unless and until you transfer some amount to it, you won't be able to see it on the blockchain, right? So you have to send some amount and then only it will be visible to anybody. So here you can see that I had sent some money, right? 10 XTZ from other wallet to this wallet, and this is the transaction hash. Anything on the blockchain you do create a hash. See here it shows the transaction because the type of this hash is a transaction type. In case of contract, it was a smart contract call. So if I go back to my tester app, right, now it will be updated with all this information. So if I go back to my accounts, as of now, see it is showing the balance as a 0 for my wallet. Once I refresh it, see it is showing the current balance, which is the 10 Tezos. Correct. Then transaction also it will be showing. I click on my wallet, it shows that I got from this source 10 Tezos. So yeah, that's how you can again create your own wallets and then play around with it, deploy a smart contract, create a smart contracts. You can explore the blocks as well. So it shows I think recent 10 blocks, but you can in future will be adding so that you can view as many blocks as you want. Each of the block has different types, right? It could be endorsement, it could be baking. We'll be talking about that not today, right? Probably in advanced session we can talk about what are these different types and all. But as a blockchain developer, you don't need to, let's say, kind of worry much about that, right? So yeah, probably that's all about let's say developing and creating a smart contract on Tezos blockchain. So if you have any questions, query, right, feel free to post it in, let's say, comment section. You can try this hands-on, right, if you have downloaded tester tool from the links we have provided, and see if you are able to follow through. If you face any issue, just post it in comment section. And don't forget to kind of join our Tezos India or Tezos developer channel. Why? Because any issues that you would be facing, right, while writing a smart contract or doing anything on Tezos blockchain, we have many community members, so anybody will be like able to help you, right, and you'll get answers pretty quickly there. Again, I'll be just sharing one assignment with you guys in next 10 to 15 minutes, right? So while doing that assignment also, like if you face any issue, you can reach out to us on the Telegram channel. And I think we have goodies for the people, right? who kind of uh, uh, completes this assignment right in the best manner. So yeah, I'll be just announcing all the details in soon. uh, Again, let's say if you are developing some DApps, right? So DApps are like decentralized applications. So there are different libraries that you can use. So one of that is a Consul.js library. So Consul.js library is integration of let's say Tezos related functionality in a JavaScript library. So I'm just sharing a Consul.js page with you guys on the screen. Yeah. So this is the Consul.js page. So if you, let's say, want to do something programmatically, right, from a JavaScript code or something like that, you can use this Consul.js library. It has different functions for, let's say, deploying a contract, invoking a contract. So let's say if I go to deploy a contract, right, you just have to call a function, send contract origination operation with different parameters. So parameters are nothing but the Tezos node, which remote address you want to target, then what are the private and public keys of that particular account, what is the contract code, then what is the initial storage, right? Once you provide all these things, right, so in a real world example, what happens is all these things will come from users. So contract code you will have, but the values and then keys and everything comes from user. So you can build a DApp using this. If you go to tester GitHub repo, right, we have a bundle called bundle React, right, which is boilerplate to, let's say, create your React DApps. So I'm sharing in comments with you guys for the let's say bundle React repo, right? So you can use this bundle to directly integrate your SmartPy contracts into your React DApps. So everything is there. You just have to go and run the application. All these libraries and everything, all functionalities, right, you can do from your React app itself. Yeah, cool. Yeah, Jatin, what kind of error I think it is giving in deploying? I'll be there after session, after, like, let's say session ends as well, right? So I'll be solving your error. Don't worry about that, right? For that matter, anybody else also, I'll be there. So don't worry. So yeah, I was talking about Consul.js library. Let's say if you are writing your code in Python language, right? So there is a ConsulPy library also. Similarly, there are libraries for other languages. You can visit developer.tezos.com to kind of get all the information, let's say, related to all the available libraries and different frameworks, right? And wherever you are stuck, you can reach out to us at any time. Cool. So yeah, I think w- these are all the basic things that you require to become a blockchain developer, right? Once you, let's say, write a smart contract, and then you integrate that smart contract in your one of the app, right? That is your decentralized app. So yes, you can build anything. You can build different use cases, like the one that I keep on repeating, right? You can store the other information on the blockchain, or you can store medical information on the blockchain. You can write some smart contract to, let's say, implement some of the finance concepts, right, like lending, or let's say fixed deposits, or anything else also, that people will put money, and after 6 months automatically, whatever with interest, right, that money will be again sent back to user's account. So those kind of a simple FD smart contracts also you can build. Yeah. Okay. Cannot read property zero of undefined. There could be two errors. One is amount you have to specify as a zero, and then you have to provide the string or whatever initial string, right? in a double quotes. I think that should solve your error. Yeah. So probably Om, you want to probably conclude this?
Can somebody let me? Okay, cool. So, hi everyone. I hope all of you guys, had a wonderful session. Vignesh took you all guys in last 2 days from basics of blockchain to how to deploy the smart contract. Now, all of you guys are aware about basics, some terminology, some words like smart contract, transaction, stuff like that, Block Explorer. So I would say recommend you guys to keep this going. Even after this session, go through Google, go through all the websites, go through all the links that we have provided. Join our developer channels and ask us any doubts if you have. In order to be a blockchain developer, you just need to have a basic understanding of blockchain, and in order to be a Tezos developer, you need to have only a basic understanding of blockchain. You need to know only one language. So SmartPy is like a Python framework, Python library. So a lot of people already know Python. Then you only need to know how to integrate in your front end, which Ignesh mentioned. There are libraries such as Console.js or Python libraries or stuff like that. And so these are just the basic. And if you know all this basic stuff, you can always be able to deploy or build a blockchain application very easily. And this is what is required even if you want to go for any blockchain job position, or you want to be a blockchain developer and if you want to pursue this forward. Just the basic understanding of all the blockchain and its tools and languages and how it works. And at Tezos, we have a lot of events lined up for you guys. So those who are interested, who want to keep learning, please keep doing that. And recently we concluded a hackathon where we had prizes worth $5,000 to $6,000, which we announced winners already. You can take a look at those projects. You can go to our Twitter handle, Tezos India, India at the rate of India Tezos, and you can check out all the projects. And we will be coming with more hackathons going forward with good amount of prizes. So if you guys keep learning, you will be able to participate in those hackathon and also in the global ones. Let me for that. Let me give you a link. The one hackathon that is being organized right now, it's a global online hackathon. So if any of you wants to, if any of you is interested and you are already familiar with all the basics and all the jargons of Tezos, and if you are quick to catch, I would suggest you can try to register in this hackathon. And this is starting from tomorrow, I guess, 25th May to 25th June. And you can try it out. You can try building something. And there are many workshops out there. We like the workshop that we give. You can find a lot of content, a lot of tutorials on top of on internet. But we at Tezos India, we are here to help you guys. So if you have any doubts, you can reach out to us. You can direct message me or Jignesh. You can message in our group, and there are a lot of people who will be happy to help you. We have done such sessions in many colleges, many communities till now, and we are trying to take this ecosystem of Tezos development forward. In going forward, we will be coming with a lot of new initiatives. So keep following us on Telegram, Twitter, and you will keep seeing many initiatives, competitions, or hackathons, or opportunity even for that matter, like internship or job position in remote opportunities. Because Tezos is a global ecosystem, and we have a lot of partners, a lot of team independently working in all the other area of the world. So that would be really cool. If you want to start from something, so at Tezos India, we are recently starting a program, Tezos Sarthi program. So it is more of a student campus ambassador program. Somebody from GDZ will share that link. So what will happen in this program is that we will interview you guys, and you will need to have some basic tech skills. You need to have basic understanding of Tezos. And we will train you. We will tell you how to learn Tezos. We will solve your doubts, and we will make you a Tezos Sarthi of your campus. And then we will deploy all the resources to you, like sponsorships or fundings or the merchandise and stuff like that, so that you can take the ecosystem or your local university. You can create your own local Tezos community in your university or your college or in your area. So that is what the Tezos Sarthi program is. And essentially what we are trying to do here is we are trying to create a community where we can connect everyone from companies, startups, students, developers, and all into one community. And then we can also provide all of them opportunities. Like we provide we provide opportunities to companies to hire good people. We provide developers and students opportunities such as hackathons or get hired, or if somebody has some good idea, then helping them getting funded. So we work in a wide range of things. So stay connected with us, and keep following us, and you'll get to know all the things that we do. I hope this link of we are sharing one form for this Tezos Sarthi program. I hope that is being shared. Yeah. So this form you can see. Please fill out this form with your information, and we will reach out to you regarding the same. That how can we move forward? We will let you know. So that was it from my side. What I would say is, first of all, thanks a lot to everyone who for making this happen. I would say to stay connected with Tezos, keep asking us doubts, and keep building, because it is necessary. If you lose practice, then it's gonna be hard. So Tezos is a very amazing ecosystem. It's an emerging ecosystem. So it is going very well and moving forward very fast in all the other parts of the world. And in India, we are taking it forward, and you will be taking it forward. So please stay connected, keep developing, keep building, keep asking us doubts, and have fun.
Yeah. And then other thing is, so yeah, here's the assignment, right? So I'll be just announcing the assignment in a bit, right? But before than that, I just want to mention that the we'll be selecting 5 winners for this assignment, right? All you have to do is write a simple smart contract. We'll be giving you a use case. You have to go back and then use whatever knowledge and the tools that we have provided today, right? You can write your own smart contract, and then you have to submit that smart contract at the given link, right, on GitHub. We'll be going through your smart contract, judging based on the different parameters that I'll tell you. And yeah, we'll select 5 winners, and we'll be sending you some exciting Tezos merchandise and goodies, right? Right at your home, right? So we'll contact you, and we'll get all your address details for all the winners, right? So I have just posted this assignment in chatter, right? Somebody will be posting in the live comment section. So all you have to do is you have to create a smart contract which can be used for voting purpose. So when I say voting, think it of as a some kind of election on the blockchain, right? So there should be an administrator who is able to kind of register different candidates on the smart contract, correct? Then there should be some entry points or some function or some way, right? A normal people, right? Yeah, so that should be again entry point for registering voters as well, because that's what we need, right? A voters list. Then all these voter, right, who are registered, they should be able to kind of cast their vote against any candidate, right? And then there should be some way to, let's say, finalize or conclude the voting process and decide the winner, right? So I have just given the high level outline, correct? But the idea, I think you got right, that we have to you just have to assume that let's say you have to mock an election on a blockchain, right? So you have to write a smart contract for that. The use case is pretty simple. I know you are not aware of many of the data types, But if you are aware of Python data types, SmartPy has the equivalent of all those data types, or you can just quickly learn in a day or two, right? Whatever kind of data structures that you require to, let's say, write this kind of a smart contract. So you just have to write this smart contract. You can test, you can deploy and test, right, using the tester tool. And once you are done with that, you can submit that smart contract to the classroom link, right? GitHub classroom link that we have given, and we'll be deciding the winners. Yeah, and probably like we'll give a week's time as a deadline, right, for all of you. So today is Sunday. Probably by next Monday, right? You should have done your submission, and then we'll announce winners on our Twitter account, right? And then we'll be communicating with you guys for the to sending the goodies and merchandise, right? So yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll be
And
waiting
also,
for all of your submissions. Yeah.
yeah. Also, yeah, with this assignment, guys, try to try to be as creative as you can. If you extra marks for a good handwriting, basically, if you do extra, then some extra stuff, we will also consider that. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
if you get full creative and you are creating a front end and you are adding console.js and you are using, let's say, if you are using tester tools like bundle react mainly, then you'll also be getting somewhat from their side. So yeah, try to be as creative as you can, try to learn as much as you can, and please do submit this assignment. It is really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, you can take any help for this assignment, right, from all of the community. So yeah, you can take as many help as much you want. And yeah, if you surprise us, we'll be surprising you with goodies and rewards, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the whole deal. Cool.
I guess it's been a great session so far. Thank you, Jignesh, again for giving so many hours to explain everything. Thanks a lot, guys, for being such a nice audience. Thank you, everyone. GDG, Gwalior, Geeta, DevClub IIT Delhi, and all you people for having us and through all the new possibilities and opportunities and technology that Tezos has to offer. And we will keep coming with many amazing opportunities, amazing programs, and many things in the coming year. So stay connected and keep following us, and let us know if you have any doubts in our groups or any forum that you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, yeah, there is a scope of internship as well, right? With
Yeah.
us, or let's say if with any of our community partners, right? Or in general blockchain world as well. So let's say if you're interested in internships, or let's say any type of research, or any type of project grants, right? You can reach out to us. We'll help you with all the resources we have, right? So yeah, don't feel shy in reaching out to us.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really, it was interactive session and 100% me and my audience learn from Jignesh. It's really have a fun with this education, and I'm 100% sure कि people will do assignment and obviously get a lot of gift from you. So you have to ready for this. So thank you so much for giving this your
Thank
time.
you.
And really, Dignesh, thank you so much. And obviously, we will go further and we will do many events with you. And obviously, my pupil will interact with you in further. And if audience pupils you have any doubt, you can connect direct with Om, Jignesh, and with us. We will try to we will try to solve your problem. We will try to take your suggestion. And 100% your feedback is always important for us.
Thank
Yes,
And
thank you.
yeah. And one thing I want to say, कि if you want to any suggestion for further events, yeah, if you have any idea for further events, please share with us and by Tejos link, by LinkedIn, and IIT Dev Club, yeah, Dev Club in IIT Delhi, and a meetup also. Because with your suggestion, we can do plan for next event as a workshop, as a webinar, hackathon. We always try to educate it to you, and we always try to bring latest technology with you all. Yeah, Shaurya, do you want to say anything?
Yeah, so first of all, I would like to thank all of you for helping DevClub organize this big event. So this has been the first webinar event that we organize, and I'd like to thank the Tezos guys, Om and Jignesh and Geeta ma'am, to help us collaborate and make this event possible. So I've shared this feedback link. I think I've shared this feedback form for all the audience to fill in, so that we could know what we did wrong or what we could improve next time, or what kind of events we could organize further. So if we can share the feedback in the live chat, that would be great. And apart from that, I would just like to reiterate that please fill in the feedback form, because that will help us to know who you guys entered into the event, so we can share the participation certificates. And apart from that, yeah, just like thank you all the audience for being there. And the 2 hours is a long time for the hands-on workshop, and they were here even yesterday. So yeah, so thank you all for being.
Yeah, thank you so much, Aishwarya. Thank you so much, Om. Thank you so much, Jignesh. And obviously, thanks a lot to Fox, because without you, it's not possible.
Yeah.
And thanks a lot to all of you, everyone.
Yeah, guys, stay safe, stay at
Yeah.
home.
Stay safe, stay healthy. Have a good evening.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's a very tough time. Take care, stay at home, and safe.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.